So in this problem, we're told that two isosceles triangles are shown above. If 180 minus z equals 2y and y equals 75, what is the value of x? So let's start by rewriting the equation they give us. So we have 180 minus z equals 2y. And then we also know, let's write what they're asking us for. So they're asking us what's the value of x. So I'm going to write x equals question mark because we don't know it. And then they give us y. They tell us y is equal to 75. And then we also see in our equation right here that we don't know what z is yet. So we don't know what z is, so I'm gonna write z equals question mark. And then on our graph here, I'm gonna write 75 where y is, because it's always good to write your numbers on the diagrams that they give you. And so what we want to do next is you should recognize that if we plug in y here, whatever y is for y, which is 75, we can solve for z because it would be the only variable left. So if we do that, 180 minus z is equal to 2 times 75. So 180 minus z equals 2 times 75, which is 150. And then if we minus 180 from both sides, we'll get minus z equals minus 30. And then in order to just get z, we can multiply both sides by minus 1, right? Because that would cancel the minus signs. So z equals 30. So we solve for z. Now we know it's 30. Let's write that back on our graph. And so y equals 75, z equals 30. And so with that information, now we should be able to find x. So what you need to recognize here is that they tell us these are isosceles triangles. And the thing that's particular about these triangles is that your angles right here that I'm drawing on are going to be equal, because isosceles, these two lengths are the same, right? They tell us based on these lines here. And so with that information, that means these two angles are the same, and we can use that to find them. So what you need to know is that when you add all the angles in a triangle up together, they're going to add up to 180. So when we add these up, they'll equal 180. And so let's add up all the angles. So I'm just going to choose a variable to represent these angles, right? And they're the same angle. So I'm just going to say they're a, variable a. So a, which is this angle right here, plus a, which is this angle right here, plus 30, right? Because we're adding them all together. So a plus 30 should equal 180. And so since we only have a variable, or just the one variable in this, we should solve for it. We can find out what these angles are. So a plus a is 2a plus 30 equals 180. And then what we can do is minus 30 from both sides. So we'll be left with 2a equals 150. And then in order to get a by itself, we divide by 2. So a equals 150 divided by 2, which is just 75. So we've solved what these two angles are. They're both 75. And so now we know that 75, we can just find x. So what you need to know is that if you have a line like this and like an angle split off, so like imagine these are two different angles, these angles must add up to 182. So that means 75 plus x has to equal 180, because this whole angle right here is 180 degrees. If this is 75, then x is just going to be 180 minus 75. So 75 plus x equals 180. If we minus 75, x is going to be equal to 180 minus 75, which is 105. So we found x equals 105. And so that's what they're asking us for. What's the value of x? The value of x is going to be 105. And so that's going to be how you solve this problem.